Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Thursday Drawfee bonus extravaganza starring Jacob, your boy, Andrews, the man.
Boy.
How's everybody doing today? I've already seen the chat exploding with York feet pics, which I should have expected. You see, I've got on my my special Drawtectives shirt today to celebrate Drawtectives episode 8, which is now out in the wild.
Or 7.
Or 7, depending on which thumbnail you saw. Drawtectives, the show's so good it's got 2 episode 7s.
I'm a genius.
It's me today. I'm not Karina, you might have noticed. I'm different. I'm built different. I just hit different. But I thought it might be fun today if for a drawing stream we do like just a whole ass drawing from start to finish. So I don't even know what I'm going to be drawing yet. I think we're going to like figure that out together. And we will just sort of go through it. My goal is in the next 2 hours to get like everything from character design to posing it out, sketching, inking, coloring, the whole damn thing. We're gonna do the whole damn thing. And in the process too, hopefully I can like answer some questions if any of you have questions about the process, but I'll try to explain everything I'm doing in great detail if possible. So that's my plan. That's my keikaku. The Hot Shame wants Julia to know that they love your jacket. It's the Roxa one. Where's the patch? There's the patch. It's Julia's special custom Roxa jacket, which is pretty good stuff.
Good stuff.
Any of us thinking about doing Inktober for fun this year? Absolutely not.
There's no time. Good lord.
I don't have time to do more drawings in a day. Are you kidding me? We got a bunch of subs, and maybe I'll actually try to read some of them real quick. We got subs from Cullen DM, Hollow Love, Caffeined, Pokegwin, Dino Squish, Kyron Coon, Goosenberg, Claridactyl, Paw Toast Rated, thank you Paw Toast, Queen Rad Rabbit, Sleo, Soul Horror, Yeetful Ginger, Raptor 13, well X13X, I should say, and BCP27, and I am still Arcadia. Thank you all so much for subscribing. I guess we should just get going. I guess we should just get into it. My thing is slightly overlapping with my screen. Let's do a little slide there. Let's get up the color I want to use here. So I guess first things first, I want to do like a character. I want to make a character of some kind. But the question is, what kind of character should I make? I want to see some ideas in chat of what kind of characters I could make. A witch is good. It won't be feet, and it won't be York feet. And it won't be York feet pics. A jazzy guy. I think I want to do some kind of witch. It is the spooky month. It's the beginning of the scariest month of them all, October. So I do like the idea of some kind of witch. Jazz witch. Space witch. Oh, this is all good stuff. What does a jazz witch even do? Dark Souls witch. They already got those in Dark Souls. Okay, I'm thinking about some kind of musical witch. I really like the idea of that, like a witch who does spells with music. I just saw that the term jizz witch got auto-modded, which is very funny. Twitch is out here modding like slander that's not even slander yet. They're on that like 2030 slander. Okay. Yeah. I like the ideas. So I'm going to start doing some sketching, and we'll kind of figure out what we want to do with this as we go. For those who might be curious, I said I'd go through the whole process today, so let's actually go through the whole process. So I can't close this because it will give away a lot of things on my open stuff screen. But my canvas is 16 by 9 inches, 300 DPI, for anyone who is curious about that. And I'm using the default hard round brush right now with opacity pressure sensitivity on. So it's got a hard edge, it's got no... It's got no size jitter, just opacity jitter. I like to use like a thick brush with no size pressure when I'm sketching because it keeps me from getting like too detail oriented. So let's just like consider some options here. I mean, I know I want like a big hat. There's no world in which I don't want a big hat, because how could I not? This is just going to be like sort of the character's like little standee, so that I kind of know what they look like. And then we'll consider like an actual pose for the drawing itself. I don't even know what kind of instrument she should have. Big hat. Hair, for sure. I want hair covering one eye, maybe. Long hair. That's fun. I like some big shapy hair. Hair for days, hair all the way down. And I'm thinking maybe like a high-waisted skirt sort of thing. Something over the shoulder. Probably an instrument. Will it be like a guitar? Will it be... What will it be? Double contrabass, flute, oboe. It will not be an oboe. You know my feelings. A keytar. A keytar is pretty good. I like a keytar. Maybe like some boots. Put some boots down. These boots are made for witching, and that's just what they'll do. What if... Okay, hear me out. What if she's wielding like a keytar, like it's a what do you call it? Like a cleaver. She's wielding like a keytar cleaver. You know, for ass whipping purposes. I'll make it look like a keytar later. A cleave-tar, yeah. Right now it kind of looks like a hairbrush, but you know, we'll get to that as we go. I guess she wouldn't have anything over her shoulder then if she's wielding it like a cleaver. So maybe instead we could do like a spell hand. Oh, she should have the floating book, like a music. Come on. Come on. It writes itself. She needs to have the floating book. The floating sheet music book. Let's take this, make it smaller. So just to give a little insight into like the process here. When I first start out on anything, kind of one of the keys that I aim for is to just move really fast and to not stay in any one area for more than a couple of seconds. To not give myself any time to get hung up on details like at all. Because what I want to do is just get all the ideas out first. This is kind of like, you know, if you were in class and like writing down notes as fast as you can, and then later you go on and like organize them into a way that makes sense. You want to try to go very fast at the beginning. And don't spend too much time in this phase. I feel like a lot of beginner artists get really hung up early on, and that's what makes things take a long time. And it doesn't have to take a long time. We can do the sketch quick, and then we can move right the heck on. Shoulder pads. Yeah, I like that. We'll definitely get more into like the details as we go. I think like her arm that she wields the cleave tar with should definitely have like some type of armor on it. Like one battle arm and one magic arm. Like that's just cool. That's just cool stuff. If you Google cool stuff, that's what you'll find in the dictionary. And then like one sort of berobed arm. Like a battle mage. Cauldron pauldrons. Oh my goodness. That's correct. That's absolutely correct. Get like a cauldron pauldron. I love that. How would that go? You want a cauldron's just a big circle and a little circle at the end of the day. And we'll make that smaller. Cauldron pauldron. Maybe like necklaces. Maybe this is like a big sash kind of thing. Kind of almost has like a samurai vibe to it, which is cool. Asymmetrical, perhaps. We like asymmetry. We love asymmetry. Floating book. Then I'd probably make the head smaller. It has been Siren City today over here. It has been absolute Siren City, and frankly, I'm sick of it.
I don't know what's going on. Shut up! Unnecessary.
It's like, just stop. Just stop. We don't have to do this. You don't gotta boop boop boop. It's Anarchy Night in the Ladies' District. It always is. The ladies' jurisdiction. What is it? Anarchy Night?
Ladies' Night in the Anarchy jurisdiction, or...
No, the wrong one. The good one.
Yeah,
Anarchy Night in the ladies' jurisdiction.
Yeah.
Okay, so we got some ideas here. I think what I'd like to do next... I think I want the hat to be like floppier. Maybe more of like a... Here we go. Yeah, this is cool. This is good stuff. Now I want to do like a close-up. Let's figure out sort of the face, the facial features of this character. Think about what's going on there. Obviously, I've established big hair. We want the big hair over one eye, because one eye has to be magical. Huge vintage sunglasses? Oh, that's fun. Her Sharingan's under there? Yeah. One eye is covered by hair and the other eye is covered by big vintage sunglasses. You don't get to see any eyes on this character. No eyes for you. Except the eyes are the window to the soul. Maybe she has no soul. Get kind of a nose in here. No, I need an eye. I need an eye. Sunglasses maybe go on the hat. Now that I like. Sunglasses on the hat. You can't argue with that. Because I think I want her to have sort of a serious... What's the look? Small tired eye? Small tired eye, big eyebrow? Is Lady tired? I mean, if she's a jazz musician, she's probably tired. Get like a ring around the eye. Maybe something like that. That's kind of fun. I like to do a low mouth, a classic Jacob low mouth. All right, this is something, but it's not quite it. We're gonna have to iterate. Away it goes. This is also part of the process that I feel like we don't talk about a lot, because on Drawfee, it's not something we really do. Since we have to go at like a certain pace. But when I'm actually drawing for myself or for like a longer piece, I tend to iterate a lot. So I'll like draw something and then just completely get rid of it. And I think that's another pitfall that a lot of beginner artists fall into, is they get a little too precious about what they're working on and end up committing to something that's not exactly what they want. What is going on outside my apartment today? Somebody is blasting Soundgarden now. Okay, now that they're gone, let's try a different style of thing. Somebody said like a wide eye with a bag underneath it. I kind of like that idea. Maybe if it's like tired underneath. I do like the thick eyebrow angle. Sorry if I get quiet sometimes. It's part of the focus you may have heard of. You may have heard of such a thing. Maybe something along these lines. Zigzaggy mouth. Because then she's gonna have a hat. Big hat. Just thinking out some nose ideas here. Maybe a little like thinner of a face. That's kind of fun. She dead ass kind of looks like me. Curly hair would be cool. I've already got this big long straight hair chunk. It's too late for curls. This is my new girlfriend. Spiky hat. Yeah. Pinstripe on the hair of the front. I don't even know what that means. She is married, do not ship. Straight hair, different color streaks. Yeah, it'll probably be something like that, I would say. Have like light and dark sort of streaks going on. That's a fun idea. Okay. Let's do... I think I've got a good general idea for how she should look. And we can also like add more to her as we go. So this is like, nothing here is finalized. I think it's also important to remember. Generally, when I'm drawing, I make changes like all the way through the process up until it's done. But you just want to get to a space where your brain's like working in the right space, and then, you know, you can go from there. Give her bats or doves. But he said like an eyebrow slit. There's lots of options we can explore, but first the option I want to explore is what is she actually going to be doing in this drawing that we're doing. So we need a pose. Because I think I want her to be in some sort of like action-y pose. So let's consider here. It needs to feature the cleave tar for sure.
Cleave tar.
It's a keytar cleaver.
Oh! I was thinking cleavage.
Yeah, well, you're not on this stream. You don't even go here.
This is a Wendy's.
So let's consider some options here. Power slide. Oh, that's fun. We're just going to think some things out. Because I was also thinking something like... oh, I should say what I'm doing. I keep forgetting to say what I'm doing. So at this point, since I have like a general idea of what I want the character to kind of look like, and I want to work on poses, I'm going to do smaller drawings, looser drawings that are just for gesture. They're kind of like little thumbnails, I guess. Like little gesture thumbnails, just to try stuff out really fast without having to commit to anything. I'd been thinking of doing something like... So let's see. Like a foreshortening of the cleave tar. So maybe she's like in the midst of battle here. Dramatic battle angle. Alita battle angle. Just laughed at my own joke. Don't worry about it. Maybe it would be like sort of blown back a little bit. Get a big eraser. This would be shorter. Oh, maybe it's even like this leg is No. So this is kind of all part of the process. I generally move things around a lot. Because I'm thinking now, would it be like a... like book? Because I want book to be featured as well. Oh yeah, hair would be... I'm thinking I want it to be one of those things like, I mean, you know me, it's going to be something related to anime. I want it to be one of those things where like she's just like, this has just come down and like the force of her swing is blowing back everything else. Got to be more forceful. Oh, the cauldron would be here too, huh? Cauldron pauldron. Maybe turn the body more. Turn the shoulders more. Because then I think I want one arm sort of going back and it's going to be holding the book. Swing the thing, hold the book. Wide stance. How wide is too wide of a stance? Yeah, we'll turn the whole body. Rotate this guy. Maybe hat has like flown back. Hair's going wild. She could be doing that thing where she's jumping. There's no such thing as too wide a stance. Beyond splits. This is to go even further beyond. Still not feeling that. Maybe we do a two-handed grip. Two-handed grip is fun. Could do something fun with the hat. I'll say I like where this is headed now. Yeah, this is kind of a fun pose. You know what? The book float. That's the thing about the book. I don't even need to have her holding the dang thing. The book freaking float, dude. Why did no one remind me that the book float? We can just sort of have the book chilling, hanging out, but you know, in like a compositionally good way. And it's got music on it, probably. She's playing the songs from the thing, and it's doing it casts the spells. Right? Okay, this is fun. I like this pose. Why not one hand back on book and one hand swing? I just didn't like how it looked. I like the two-hand swing. I think the two-hand swing fun. Maybe a singing toad sitting on the book. I can get by with that. There will be a little toad here. Going, hey, hello, my baby. Hello, my darling. Hello, my ragtime girl. It's her familiar. Her familiar is the toad. Okay. This is what we're going to go with. I think this is very fun. We're going to get out of here. I'm never going to use that feature. So what I would do now is make the little sketch I did bigger. And not keep fiddling with it forever and ever. And I'm lowering the opacity on that layer way down, and then I'm going to do a refined sketch. Since this is still way too loosey-goosey and has none of the details in it. So now we'll actually get to sort of the nitty-gritty of how this is going to look. So let's see. We'll go a little smaller on the brush so we can be a bit more detailed. And we can kind of get into it here. So we know we want like hair going. I want it to be like clearly defying physics. Maybe it's even coming out a bit over here. That's fun. That's fun. Good job, Jacob. Good job, Jacob. We're having fun. Everybody's having fun. And then we want it to be over here too. The shorter sort of side hairs. You know how everyone has some side hairs? This is kind of reminding me of that character from Guilty Gear. The guitar one. And there'll definitely be, I'd say there should be some like hat details. Like I want it to be like split in places. Like it's an old hat. This is old hat. Oh, it's kind of like a lily pad now. Oh my God, I made it cohesive accidentally. This is what I mean when I say you shouldn't plan anything too much. Because sometimes stuff just happens while you're drawing, if you let it happen, and you can come up with fun ideas you maybe wouldn't have thought about before. Like lily hat. Oh, well now I gotta think about what's gonna go, what the top should be. We'll leave it for now like this, but that's probably not gonna be how it stays. We'll probably do something else with that. Put some water lilies on the brim. Yeah, we'll definitely add some fun details to this as we go further. Then we said the hair is gonna have like different color waves and stripes to it, which I think is very fun, kind of like a swirl. Cauldron pauldron would be turned inwards this way. And we'll probably actually include like the little legs on there. That's fun. Then this arm and this think about what to do with this arm as well as we kind of go here. Because right now we're just getting in the what do you call it? Anatomy. We love the anatomy here. Because this will be this will be like a sleeve. So maybe it'll be like a bigger, like a bit bigger and blowing back a little bit. We'll see. We'll think about it. We'll think about it as we go. We don't have to figure it out right now. What we do know is that this arm is either robotic or armored. Unclear which one. Doesn't matter. This would be... Gotta figure out how hands do. They do something like this. Don't like that right now. That might be something. Do I like that? I might like it. Don't know yet. Will she have a tattered dress to match the hat? Yeah, she needs to have some kind of like swamp toad hat, big toad on hat. So you're telling me there's a toad on the hat and a toad on the book? Do you think this is a two-toed kind of witch? You think she's a two-toed sloth? I'll probably have to look up what an actual toad looks like at some point in this process. But this is a placeholder toad. This is a stupid looking toad. Brrr. Cause I'll be danged if I know off the top of my head what a toad looks like. It's kind of like this. This toad ain't bothered. Okay, then some stuff's gonna happen here. Let's focus on the cleave tar for a second. Big fast lines here. That's incorrect. There we go. It's called perspective, Sweaty. You learn it in school. No, I don't want those lines.
Do you want tea?
I have some tea.
You want some tea?
Yeah, give me some tea.
You want some tea?
Yeah.
Olive, come here. Yeah. Yeah, come here. Good girl. Never mind, I'm not making tea.
Because Olive is here.
Never mind, Olive's here.
I actually can't switch to an Olive cam right now because I don't have a web camera mode set up. How do you perspective? Well, there's like the official way to do it, which is that you have a vanishing point. I can actually do just a quick show. Let's get rid of that for a second.
It's looking great, by the way.
Thank you. So if this were like an actual straight line, which it's pretty good. It's pretty good.
That's pretty good.
And then if this were an actual straight line, hello, Olive. Can I help you?
Do you need help getting to the back of Jacob's monitor? Okay, yeah, I got you. Yeah, she wanted back there.
She's going behind the monitor. So if I were doing this the legit way, I would have this straight line, which goes, you know, like this. And then there's this one, which goes like, well, not like that, but somewhere in the middle. We'll find it. We'll find it. There we go. So this right here would be the vanishing point. And from the vanishing point, if you just made straight lines like going in every direction, this would be sort of like the perspective of the 1 point perspective of this cleave tar. So once you've kind of established that, then you know exactly like the angle that it will be pointing at, right? So you know that this line has to go here, and those lines will be parallel to each other. The real answer is you should like look up some YouTube tutorials on how to do perspective, and then practice like the actual act of doing it. And then usually when I'm actually like drawing, I don't bother with any of the prep stuff. I just kind of eyeball it because I think it's more fun that way for me personally. Because then there would also be a separate perspective for the other sort of aspect of it that goes like this way, and then you kind of have to figure it all out if you want to, but I don't want to. The real answer is wing it. Well, it's not really winging it because I practiced it a lot on my own. So because I practiced it and have drawn a lot, I can wing it successfully a lot of the time. If it gets more complicated, though, I can't wing it anymore, and I have to go back and do like the actual thing if I'm trying to figure out something I haven't done before. So there's an answer for you. Let me get some oolong.
All right.
Yeah, Mimi Small Cat. The answer is muscle memory and picturing it in your mind, but you have to have done it enough times to have the muscle memory. So the real answer is, you know, you do your practice.
There you go. You need a chair. There you go.
Anyways, back to my world. Back to Bobby's world. I don't know exactly how this is going to go yet, so we're just going to sort of figure it out. It's going to go something like this. And then this one will go going out like this. It's not perfect, but it doesn't really have to be either. Then we're going to have these like boots, just because I think boots are fun. Because they're basically just big triangles, and it makes it easier to do the perspective of the feet properly. If you're like me. I feel like okay, and then these will be filled in basically. So right now I'm just getting sort of a sense for how everything would look. I feel it should be more like tattery, right? Now that we've kind of accepted this swamp witch aesthetic, it should probably be more tattery. That's the wrong color. So maybe it's like not like that, that's for sure. Maybe tattery. The details of it can be figured out later. A smaller brush. I mean, that would also explain why it's like shorter on one side than the other side. On account of the swamp tatters. Hat Toad needs a book and Book Toad needs a hat. You're losing the thread here. I want like necklaces for sure. I guess you should also have like a face. That would probably be good to include. We'll get like an eye in here. This is going to be a rough approximation of what the face would be doing. Because actually, I think it'd be a little angrier. But we still have the bag under the eye. Something I kind of want to drive home while doing this too is that it's totally okay. I mean, I know we kind of do this on Drawfee a lot, but even in like your own work, it's totally okay for things to just not work. And for you to have to like erase and fix things a million times or like try a million different versions of a thing. That's like a natural part of the art process. The art process. Thank you. Oolong. Go like more like this. How do we want the mouth to be? Like teeth? Like sort of a gritted teeth situation? That's pretty good. I think the arms are wrong. Now that I look at them, I think they're too long. We'll have to think about that. Okay, we're getting somewhere though. The legs are definitely too long. I kind of just want to do like a little bit of this. A little bit of this action. Shine it up a bit. Shine up that shiny arm. Yeah, there's for sure something not right. Not even gonna think about how these hands would have to do yet. I do like it though. I do like it so far. I am gonna canvas flip and I'm, you know, just terrified. I think I'm just thinking right now, don't mind me. Sometimes we just gotta think. I think the arms are too long. Gonna have to make some adjustmentes. Maybe get those up just a bit. Don't flip it, it's a terrible idea. You gotta flip it. For a long time, I wouldn't flip it as well because I was scared. And since I started flipping it, I feel like it's made a big improvement in my art. I recommend flipping it. Have I saved? No, of course I haven't saved. What do you take me for? This leg is way too long. Let's get that back in here. think a little bit about how this keytar will work. Because the keys would come to the edge here. That's gonna really have to be better. It's just gonna have to be better, I think, is kind of where we're at. We're in a classic situation where it's just gonna have to be better than it is. Why did I have to give myself a task that has like a million freaking keys to do? This is a stupid idea. Yeah. We'll worry about that later. There's no need to worry about that right now. That's details. That's details. Give Hat Toad a hat. You're all out of your minds, but I will give Hat Toad a hat. Hat Toad wears a bowler hat. Hat Toad wears a bowler hat. Okay, I think maybe part of the problem that I'm facing here. Yeah. Is that her body should be angled a bit more this way. And then the legs need to move. The legs need to move. This would change. Okay. We gotta math it out here. Here we go. This shoulder would probably be a little more dipped. A little bit of dip. And then maybe the shirt thing kind of comes more over here. Just know that this is basically the process every time I draw anything. I just thought about it, and now I feel like if she's turned this way slightly, the frog also needs to be turned that way slightly. Is probably the case. Why don't we go ahead and give this a flip? Give it an old flipsy look. Okay. Needs to be rotated a little bit. The frog is really making me laugh. It's not too bad, actually. It's not too bad of a flip. Kind of just do this so I can see a little better. Maybe the interior hair is darker. That's pretty good. I'm happy with that. How these legs? How you legs doing? They're doing pretty good. We're doing pretty good. The frog, I gotta do something with the frog. I'm gonna flip it back. And I gotta get Book Frog in there too. Oh. Oh yeah, I made her a little more gaunt, didn't I? See if we can't gaunt her up a bit. Give her just a minor gaunting. A bit of a gaunting. A daunting gaunting. Alright, let's put... First, let's fix Hat Frog, even though I love him like my own child. He needs to be... Okay. He's got to go. He's got to be redone. I'm sorry, Hat Frog. R.I.P. Because Hat Frog should be facing the same way that she's facing. He's coming back. Don't worry. Don't worry about that. He's going to come back even better than before. Gotta follow the same sort of line here. This is going to be Hat Frog Revengeance. Oh man, this Hat Frog's kind of got a look in his eye like than Parrish. Hat Frog, you've changed. Hat Frog, you used to be so kind. What happened to you, Hat Frog? Hat Frog post-crisis. This is like previous Hat Frog was like things might be all right, but this Hat Frog is like, oh no, you fucked up. And now you're about to get it. And there's nothing Hat Frog can do to save you now. Little frog sit here. Oh, this cracks me up. Hat Frog in his special little cap. You fool. What have you done? Hat Frog if you saw a knife fight once. And then Hat Frog had like some spots or something. I have to like move on with this because what's going on here? There we go. Because we're already an hour in and I need to get to the other portions of this drawing. But I'm just having fun. Hat Frog looked kind of shocked. Hat Frog's like, oh no! Oh heavens! Hat Frog didn't sign up for this. Okay, then we need book, which I think we're gonna want to be kind of more like this. Maybe it overlaps a bit. Like this. I'm sorry that most of my talking in this one is just sort of me like muttering to myself like a crazy person. But that is honestly what goes through my head when I'm working. And this will have the sheet music on it. Floating via magic spell. Naturally. And then we have our good old friend Book Frog. Who I think is gonna be like... Book Frog's like the cute mascot character. All the toys are made out of Book Frog. Book Frog's mournful singing voice. The song of a Book Frog. Sing it, Book Frog. Book Frog is just singing from the heart. It's not distress, it's emotion. It's pure emotion. It's sort of like a buff. It buffs the cleave tar. And when Book Frog starts singing and the cleave tar gets buffed and Swamp Witch's face looks like this, and then you look up and you see Hat Frog, and Hat Frog's like, oh shit. Oh no. That's how you know you messed up. When all those things happen, that's how you know you messed up. Jeremiah was a Book Frog. Have a little tea sip. Delicious tea sip. And then we'll start inking. I probably should find like some reference of what a keytar looks like as well, but we'll get to that in a second. For now, let's just ink. My favorite part of the process, as history's largest truck drives by my apartment for the 1000th time today. Eat Meowth, you started using the flats fill command thing, and it's life-changing. Yeah. It seriously made my coloring process like 1,000,000 times better. You need to thank Nathan for it, because Nathan's the one who told me about it. And now I must tell everyone. Okay, we ink now. For inking, I'm gonna go with like a sort of my classic thick and thin clean inks. And I'm going to be using, if you have Photoshop and Kyle's Mega Pack, you can have the ink box. I'm going to be using Kyle's ink box Clean as a Whistle New. It's this one. It's got a lot of sensitivity, and it's just a very clean brush. It starts off on 10% smoothing, which is what I prefer to use as well. And we'll start getting some of these big shapes in here. Start with the lily pad. Oh my god. Do you hear the honking? This has been all day. Everyone honking. Free me. Free me from honk hell.
Because all these stupid trucks are just parked everywhere.
It's,
Shut up!
It's because all these stupid trucks are parked everywhere.
There's a truck literally parked right outside of our apartment. I'm just gonna close these windows because people can't behave!
I talked about inking a lot on the Drawfee stream on Monday, so I probably don't have much to say about it that I didn't already say there. But when I ink, I'm usually going in and doing thick lines for big outer shapes, like the outside of this lily pad hat I made really thick, and then the inner lines of the lily pad I made a lot thinner. I just think it makes for a nice contrast. And maybe we'll even like get some of that action. That's fun. That's fun. Let's just have some fun. Just have some fun here. Is it okay to just have some fun?
No.
Oh. It's not okay to have some fun. I messed up. I'm sorry. Every time somebody tells me to save my work, I don't save it on purpose. I save it even less times. Because I'm an agent of chaos. Gonna try to ink kind of fast so that I don't take up all the time on this. I feel like a question that we often get asked by people is like, how do we make the lines so smooth when we're inking? And the answer to that question is, if you're a digital artist trying to get smoother lines, you have to train yourself to use your whole arm and to move fast rather than using like your hand and wrist like you were drawing on paper with like a pencil or something. So if you want to get like a really smooth line, you want to lift your elbow up so that it's free floating. I usually zoom way in on what it is I want to get the line on. So if it was like this book, and then in like one motion, you just kind of want to go do one segment in one motion, move the entire arm. At first, it doesn't feel good at all to do, and it doesn't work. But you just have to get used to it. It just takes a long time. I remember when I started at College Humor, I was unable to do this, but I saw like Caldwell and Nathan doing it all the time, and so I started forcing myself to just like every time I was inking, I would force myself for each line to go full arm as fast as I could, and then just do the same line as many times as I needed to until I got it right. And training like that actually helped me learn how to do it. How would it be to do that on a screenless tablet? It's the same concept. You do the same thing. It is one of the benefits of having like a larger tablet, is that you just have more room to do it, but you can still do it just as well on a smaller tablet as well. So you see here, like I want to get that entire line in one go, and so I just did it a few times. And when I first started doing it, like I said, it took like a million tries to get the right line, and then as I got used to it, you start getting the right line faster and faster. So it just takes practice if you're looking for really smooth lines, at least. And it also has the side effect of making your general inking process much faster in general, rather than having to like slowly, painstakingly trace everything. I think a lot of people also make the mistake of thinking about inking as just tracing the sketch. Julia just did the biggest sigh, and I couldn't tell if it was because she disagreed with what I was saying.
No, I didn't hear what you said.
It was like perfectly timed so that I finished a sentence and then you did a huge sigh. Like, oh, he's talking about this shit again.
An unrelated thing. I don't know what you're talking about.
Okay, that's fine. I'm sorry to interrupt you.
That's okay.
What I was gonna say was, people think about inking as just tracing the sketch, and I think it's better to think of it as its sort of own art form unto itself. If you actually focus on it and focus on making the lines into their own appealing shapes, you can end up with some really fun results, I think. And you'll notice too, and I talked about this on Monday, but I'll just mention it again here briefly. When I do a bunch of lines like on the hair here, I leave the edges ragged, and then I just kind of come back in with my eraser and taper everything nicely so that it's clean. I think of the lines a lot more like shapes than lines when I'm inking like this. So I want each line to have its own nice shape, if that makes sense. Thank you, Whiskey Dog. Yeah, inking's just its own kind of skill set. And like anything, it's something that you'll get a lot better at if you put the time and effort into it. And specifically like the thought as well. I think one of the biggest parts of like improving at art is making sure that your practice is thoughtful practice, not just time consuming. Like for instance, if you sit down to do art and you draw like sort of a thing that you already know how to draw and you've drawn a million times before, you will get better at drawing that thing, but you might not grow as much as if you tried to push into something else with like intention. Like today I'm really focusing on inking and making the lines clean, and that's what I'm gonna work on. How do you erase so smoothly? Is it the same principle? Yeah, it's the same principle, Zibs. I kind of like, if we had like a corner like this, I go in with the eraser and I even like crane my shoulder a bit to kind of get around on it. And I start on like the outside of it so I don't erase over the lines I want to keep. And then I slowly move closer in, increasing the pressure with each stroke until I have the exact point that I want, like that. Like that-ish. And that too just takes a lot of practice. Does your glub ever rub? Does your glub rub? Does your glub ever rub in between your fingers? Asked Urban Elf. No, I've never had a problem with that. Now we get to do the numerous attempts it will take to do a circle that I like. Give me a good one. Give me a good one. It's not a good one. That one's pretty good. I think that drawing a circle well is like, it's like gambling. And the better you get at drawing, the better your ratio of good to bad gets, but it's never going to be 100%. Do I want this to cut over the face? I think I do. No, it doesn't feel right. It don't feel right. Does that feel right? It's not exactly how I want it to be. I think we'll do something more like this. And in general too, I also just always keep my left hand on the keyboard, and I switch rather frequently between hitting B and hitting E for brush and erase when I'm inking. That's good for now. Make a little cauldron leg. Cute little cauldron leg. Has Swamp Witch killed before? I feel like she probably fights like some sort of evil swamp. Maybe not swamp spirits. Maybe it's like an Avatar. The water benders that live in the swamp and like scare people away. She's probably fighting like capitalism or something, and they're trying to, some like assholes trying to come in and turn the swamp into a resort or some stupid shit. And it's like, we can't let that happen. Are you insane? Are you crazy? Swamp Witch lives here. You can't do that. You can't do that to Swamp Witch. I saw somebody asked how do you decide how much detail to use while inking? And it really depends on the piece that you're doing. And also what your art style is. generally a pitfall that a lot of people tend to fall into if they're beginner digital artists, because you can have these canvas sizes that are so huge, you can really get in there and add so much detail. But then when you zoom out, it actually is like basically unseeable, A, and B, doesn't actually help the overall composition of the piece. So it's really good. You see I've got like a navigator over here that's usually a bit bigger. There we go. So I can kind of glance over and see a bit of like what my drawing is looking like zoomed out. And then I also just zoom all the way out a lot to see like what it's going to look like when I post it somewhere. And then it helps me kind of keep in mind what is too small to even be worrying about. Generally, I try to go from like big shapes to small shapes. So I get everything in like its biggest, broadest form, and then I zoom out and decide if it needs more detail or not. Don't like that line. I do kind of like that line. We got some good lines in here sometimes. And it's probably also worth mentioning that a lot of people don't even worry about lines the same way I worry about lines. And it doesn't like affect their work at all. It really depends on like the kind of work you do. Because I know Karina usually inks in like and using like one of the pencils and just kind of inks that way, but the line work's usually really thin. And so it's not like a focus of the piece. And Julia, same way. I know doesn't focus too heavily on the lines, but more on like composition and stuff like that. I'm just a real line freak. So, not saying it's the only way to do it. It's just that if you want this similar effect, this is kind of a way to go about it. I'm just a fan of drawing in sort of the big, thick-lined cartoon style. Kind of cell, animation cell-y type of thing. But you don't have to. You don't have to draw at all if you don't want to. What kind of brush do you use? Right now I'm using, it's from Kyle Webster's Mega Pack, which is free if you have Photoshop CC. And it's in his ink box. And it's called the Kyle's Ink Box Clean as a Whistle New. But he's got a lot of good clean line art brushes in there. Oh, good line, Jacob. Sometimes I do one fast that I thought was going to take longer, and it really is just a treat. One thing that's important to remember about hands is that you can get away without doing a lot of detail on hands if the basic shape is right enough. And it's not like a feature of the piece. You can kind of just do like a little bit of hand detail, and nobody will really pay that close attention. Don't like that, actually. So it's the kind of thing where like I'll keep them pretty simple for now, and then, you know, I'll come back later, and if I want to add more detail, then I will. You can sometimes do like, I like to do like one finger and knuckle that's kind of detailed, just to sort of show like, yeah, this is a hand, and I know what a hand looks like. It doesn't mean I'm going to draw the whole rest of the hand though, so leave me alone. Just want to get the shape sort of right in here. Good enough for now. This is also a robot hand too, so Technically, there's no wrong way to draw it, if you think about it. Any way I draw it is correct. I know a lot of people struggle with drawing hands, and I do as well sometimes. But I think once you sort of get a grasp on them, no pun intended, they're actually a really fun part to draw. They're kind of one of the parts I look forward to a lot. Because they're very expressive. And you can kind of tell a lot about what the person is doing or saying by how their hands look. And they're really only hard if you don't practice them. If you spend like a few days just like going to town on hands, just drawing them constantly in all sorts of different angles and stuff, you'll come out of it just like not really having a problem anymore for like general stuff. You still have to look up reference for really specific positions. You definitely have to fill up a few sketchbook pages with hands to make it work. An hour 26, huh? Doing pretty good time-wise, I would say. Don't know if we'll get like a fully finished piece, but we'll get somewhere. And that's better than nowhere. I'm feeling some big Bob Ross energy right now. Just having like a chill art time. It's pretty rare that I get to just like draw at a normal pace and then also talk while doing so without making like jokes and stuff with friends. So it's kind of nice. It's relaxing. We're just having a nice time. I think we will do the line tool here probably. Is that what I want? That's basically what I want. So right now I click and then I hold shift and then I click again and it makes a straight line from one space to another. There's better ways to do this, I'd like to say. But this is what I do. And Photoshop is kind of fun. I talk about this all the time with like Julia and Karina and them, is that like there's so many ways to do every single thing in Photoshop. And like most of them will work just fine. And then there's like another way to do it that you never would have considered. So you could do something like this using like the pen tool if you wanted to, or the line tool, or the shape tool. Keep in mind that perspective there. This is looking pretty good. Oh, that's wrong. That's super wrong. There we go. That's right-er. That's right-er, Jacob. Maybe a dumb question, but why Photoshop over Illustrator? It's one of those weird things where most like artists who are working on like drawing tend to prefer Photoshop, and then Illustrator is preferred by like people who are doing more design oriented stuff. At least in my experience, like every artist I know uses Photoshop and none of them use Illustrator. Like Sammy Desu said, Illustrator is made for logos and vector a lot more. So I think the naming is wrong. The naming conventions seem really like off to me. But yeah, like Laura Lynn said, illustrating in Illustrator is hard, which is very funny. It should definitely be renamed. Why not CSP? I actually bought CSP when it was on sale recently. I just haven't dug into it yet. I think that CSP is a really good program from what I know about it. And I'm looking forward to trying it out. But it's kind of like when you know a program really well, there's not much of a reason to switch. So I don't have any like actual reason I would need to use a different program other than Photoshop. So if I mess with CSP, it'll probably just be for funsies. The good thing about CSP is that it's much cheaper. You pay one time and then you just own it instead of paying a subscription like Photoshop. But we have to have the Adobe subscription anyways for Drawfee, so no reason not to. If in the future I needed to like save some money and didn't need to have Premiere and After Effects and Audition and all of that, then I would probably use CSP. Let's finish drawing this frog. Whoop. Get them froggy eyes. They're watching you. Simply shocked. Shocked at what you've done. The frog is good. I will hear no words against the frog. Get some tatter holes in here. That's a pretty good like fantasy character name. Tatterholes. Feel free to use that. That one's up for free. If anyone wants to name a character Tatterholes, I give you permission. Hat Frog is the new Onceler. If Hat Frog is the new Onceler, then who's Tatterholes? Tatterholes is the new Twiceler. And Twiceler is the new Chrysler. You heard it here first. Should mirror that. Cool, cool, cool. Cool, 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 cool. Tatterholes is Sans Undertale. I hope this inking process is enjoyable for everybody. It's probably not the #1 most thrilling thing you've ever experienced, but I like it. That's got to count for something. you're working on stuff too, so it feels like you're not alone. Good. Everybody should also be inking at the same time that I'm inking, and then we'll all share in inking power. Our ink strength will be through the freaking roof. Don't like that. Don't like that. If any of you are interested in my detailed feelings on shapes and how to draw with shapes that look pleasing, that's going to be, I'll probably be doing the draw class at the end of October about that exact subject. If you are a Patreon patron at that tier, and if you're not, you can still catch it the month after when it goes live for everybody. Yeah. Get some Swiss cheese holes in there. This is like the movie Holes with Shia LaBeouf. Basically. That one's a little too deep. Fabric ain't that deep. Get a hold of yourself. Get real. Quit joking around. Chunky boots. That doesn't make sense. That makes sense. Maybe some like cool like boot tip thing going on. There should definitely be a boot tip thing going on, right? Fill this space in. Because why not? How big did I do it over there? That seems about right. That leg looks like it's bent. It's bent bad. Oh no. Let's fix that. I liked how the boot came out, but then the leg was bent bad. We want it to not be bent bad, ideally, in an ideal world. Bend that thing back around. Bend it like Beckham. That's what that movie's about. It's good enough for now. It's not like this drawing's going anywhere. I mean, I haven't even saved it, so who knows if it will even live past this moment. Lord knows. Does she have a name? She doesn't have a name. If you want to start thinking of a name, chatteroonies. Get some book lines. Book, line, and sinker. heck is that? Is there a cat back there? No, no cat. Oh, my phone's ringing. I'm getting a spam call. Can you believe it? Have any of y'all been getting like increasing amounts of spam calls and texts recently? Because mine have been like insane. It's been like texts all day long, calls all day long, never ending. I feel better that all of you have too. Like 10 a day. Yeah, it's been so bad. Figure out this here book. That's pretty good, actually. Not a bad book. Gonna bring it like this, maybe? We're doing some book winging it right now. Don't tell anyone. No, that ain't it. That ain't it. Figure out the book in a second. I want to draw the frog. I want to draw the important thing, which is the frog. And his little frog hands. In my mind, I just keep thinking this song. My God. Try again. In my mind, I keep thinking this frog is singing Memory from Cats. Memory, all alone in the moonlight. Kermit eyes, please. I think we could do that. Let's give it a try. There we go. There we go. There's our friend. Time for the face. Go slightly bigger on the brush there. Sometimes I really like to get in them pixels, as you can see. Do not judge me. You don't even know me. I can zoom even further if I have to. This mouth is kind of whack. Good enough. Now comes the fun part of, I sketched this as a bunch of big blobs. So how do I make it look good in reality? Eyeball, eyeball, eyeball. it to be nice and angry. Angry. She mad. We'll connect that to the nose, why not? This should come in more. That's working. Oh, I hit save. You caught me. You caught me, everyone. You caught me out. I did it instinctively. You finally got me. Let's see, this will be stream 10:1. It's saved. You win. I hope you're all happy. Okay, what do I want to do next? I mean, I know that I have to do the keytar, is the thing. Yeah, the book is thin. I haven't added all the pages in it yet. Or maybe it's just a thin book, you know? Who am I to say? Maybe it's like one of those like little folios that has just the 2 pages of sheet music in it. Maybe if I do like, need a bigger brush. My brush is too small. Can't draw nothing with a brush this small. This would be something that I would generally fix as we went. Books are one of those things that's like really weirdly difficult to draw. You don't think it should be, but it is. You look at a book and you're like, that's pretty simple. And then you actually get in there to draw a book. And if you're not looking at book reference, like I'm clearly not, then God help you. God rest your soul. That's good enough for now. Because it's going to have pages that go like, you know, outward. That's how books do. You know what? It's just like a 1-page book. It's a music book. It's a magic music book. It doesn't need thickness. I refuse to remember thickness. I've forgotten thickness this day. Oh, just having a stretch. Cracking all my bones. Oh, Lord. Lord save me. I know I have to do the keytar, and I've been avoiding it. But I can't avoid it forever. The thing that's making me not want to do the keytar is that I know it has a bunch of keys and that they have to get thinner at a progressive rate in order to not look stupid. They have to get thinner at a consistent rate, I should say. Hi.
Hello.
Julia was just staring off into space. So let's get some lines. We'll start with some lines. It's a big box, essentially. Oh yeah, there's hair missing. There is hair missing. We'll get the hair. We'll get the hair in there. Don't even worry about it. Do not be concerned. I was really intending to get through like the entire coloring phase in this stream as well, but you know, don't look like that's gonna happen at this point. The right corner is off. Yeah, this corner is definitely off. Let's be. It's off, but not enough that I think I care. Or do I care? How much do I care? I care enough. That's a bit better. It's not perfect. The angle at the top is off. It doesn't matter. I'm not doing anything with this drawing other than enjoying it, so I'm not too much of a stickler for exactness. It can just be wrong. That's fine. You know what they say about being wrong? 2 wrongs make a right. So if I'm wrong enough times, it will become right. That doesn't look good though. Come on. Something like that. Does that feel better? That feels better. But this doesn't feel better. That feels good enough. Feels good enough. I don't want to do better. That feels good enough. I'm not gonna measure it outright. Yeah, it's definitely gonna be a problem to do these keys because of this whack perspective. It'd have to be more like that. That actually could still work because they sometimes keytars have those weird angled bits. Who's to say this one doesn't have a weird angled bit? So can she or can she not actually play the keytar? That remains to be seen. That's unclear. Skip keys, do color. We could do a little bit of color. That would be more fun than watching me struggle with keys, that's for sure. So why don't we do that? I would say, yeah, we'll spend the last like 5 minutes just flattening some color. I mean, immediately my thought is, and admittedly, I'm not the best with color. So usually I just like put stuff in and then figure it out. That car's out there flatlining again.
Oh, you're right.
There's this freaking car outside.
You're bad at parking. Range Rover. Learn how to park. I want you to know that he's not attempting to park anymore. He's just at a wonderful 75-degree angle into the street with a street sign right behind his trunk, so it's just going off. He's doing nothing about it. Learn how to drive your expensive car.
Does being colorblind make colors more difficult? Yeah, totally. But what I do is I just put in some colors that I think will be fun, and then I see if they actually are fun or not.
I defeated the Range Rover.
Did it go?
Yeah, it left. It just left. It just abandoned ship. I'm trying to park. Oh, I love that frog.
Which frog?
Oh, there's several, huh?
There's two.
I love them both.
They're...
I was talking about the hat one wearing the hat.
This one's got some Julia vibe.
Yeah, I do really like that one. Yeah!
Light blue skin. That wouldn't be in a swamp though, right?
That's true.
That's not like swampy. I feel like purples and greens are swampy.
Unless it's very light blue, like she's dead.
Oh, like she's dead.
Like she's dead.
Like she's dead.
Like a pale blue.
Try it out. Not gonna hurt anyone to try it out. Memory. All alone in the moonlight. Shrek colored skin. Yeah, I think brown skin would look better. This is my feeling on the matter. Yeah, I dig that look. That's looking pretty cool. Then the cauldron. We'll go with kind of back in the purplish realm. Purple gray. So right now in this part, I'm just like getting things in, and then I'll make adjustments later. How are you able to fill in your lines with color without expanding the selection? I'm glad you asked, Love Otter. It's something I'm happy to explain every time I do a stream, and I'm not being sarcastic. It's because I genuinely want people to know about it. There's a special action. If you're in Photoshop, you can go to Window and Actions to pull up the Actions panel. And there's a button down here that's the Record button. So if you click the Record button, you can record like a series of button presses and clicks and then map it to one key. So what I have is, basically to set it up, I use the magic wand tool to select an area. And then I went into the select menu and modify and expand by 3 pixels. Then fill that area using the foreground color and then set selection to none. And then I stop the recording. So it makes this whole recording, you can see the steps right here. I call it the expand fill. I got the idea from Nathan. So yeah, essentially I set it to F4, and so every time I hit F4, it expands my selection by 3 pixels, it fills in the foreground color, and then it deselects the area. It makes flatting really, really fast and way easier to do. So please enjoy. Okay, back to my world. Thinking like maybe a sort of golden necklacey color. The arm will probably be a lighter, darker version. Maybe a darker version of the cauldron, and then I'll add like shine. Add shine to it as we go to make it stand out. It's kind of cool because it looks like the arm is like growing out of the cauldron. How is flat color different from the fill tool? I can show you an example. For instance, because I'm using a brush that is, well, this brush is actually pretty, whoops. This brush is pretty aliased, but even still, if you look in, you see these little like white dots that bump up against the black where it doesn't quite fill all the way. So if you zoom out, you can see there's a little bit of edge where the color is not meeting the line because the line slightly fades towards the edges to make it look smoother. So if you use the fill tool, you'll end up with these like what we call jaggies, these anti-aliasing jaggies. And that's a bit annoying to have. You can see them easily here too. So that's why I use this tool. So if I fill it in that way, it fills underneath the lines by 3 pixels and you got no jaggies. It's a gift. It's a dang gift. Okay, I'm thinking. So a lot of times when I'm coloring, I'll just like use a few colors and then take elements of those colors and put them elsewhere in the drawing just to see how it looks. So I'm kind of just testing it out with the black pants and the gold tipped boots, which are pretty dope. What about the fabric though? I mean, I think I want this frog to definitely be like a straightforward Kermit the Green Frog. But maybe he's got a little orange belly. Little orange belly. That's cute. Could definitely go in like the green's direction. Could match up with the frog. Not feeling that. Darker? No, I don't like that either. More like greenish brownish. Push it a little towards the yellow. Feels a little too close to her skin tone right now. Needs to be either brighter or darker. Maroon. Sort of maroony could do good. Little loony maroony. That's pretty cool. I dig that. That's pretty fun. That's pretty fun color. Eyes may be golden too. I think I want this frog up here to be more sort of in this range. I want him to be browner. With little toad spots. Let's get some toad spots on this guy. You kidding me? Of course he's got toad spots. Look at this guy. His little hands. A lot of the stuff with being colorblind, I've like memorized a lot of the positioning on the color thing from making a lot of mistakes and having people tell me it looked wrong, of like where the green kind of becomes yellow and where the yellow becomes orange, where the orange becomes red. So like positionally, I know where those things are, but I still like, I can't actually see too good how it actually looks in reality. I just kind of have to make a guess at it. And that's fine. That's fine sometimes. Get a little tongue action. Get a little mouth action. This frog is wearing a nice pink hat. It doesn't go with the aesthetic as much, but it's what this frog likes. What pen did I use for the line work? It's Kyle Inkbox Clean as a Whistle in the Inkbox section of the Kyle's Mega Pack. Clean as a Whistle new, sorry. Then we'll go a little yellowed for the book page. Maybe the book is red also, but a different red. A more differenter red. And then the keytar. What should the keytar be? How do you like to replace colors? Normally, since I do such like big blocks, it's easy just to magic wand it and put a different color in. It's got to be, if it's a purple or a red, it's got to be different enough from the hair. Like a really red-ass red might be fun. Just like a super red-ass red. Like a sports car. Sports car red. Maybe the keys are sort of the same color here as that. And then I think I'll just really quickly do a little bit of shading to show off that a bit, and then that is where we will call it for the day. With unfinished book and unfinished keytar. Maybe it is skin, the veiled. Maybe it's a skin keytar. Nothing wrong with that. So usually when I'm, oh, she has a hole in her leg, you're right. Oh my God. What was I thinking? There we go. Now she doesn't have a hole in her leg. So usually when I'm doing shadows, I like to do it on my base shadows at least. I like to do it on one layer. So I make a new layer over here and then I make it a clipping mask, which you can do by right-clicking on it and doing create clipping mask. And then I set that layer mode to multiply. And then I'll probably do like a purpley color for the shadows. So having it on multiply means that it makes a shadow tone based on the tone that's underneath it. So as you can see, if I like go over everything, it's not making everything one color, it's making everything a darker color using the color I have as a way to darken it. And also because it's a clipping mask, I can't draw outside of where the flats are. So no matter what I do, it will only show up on areas where the flats are. So then we'll just decide on a light source, which will probably be like coming kind of like, I can't draw over there like I just said, coming kind of like this maybe. Like kind of down, kind of forward. Because I do want it to like hit the rim of the lily pad. And then have a shadow underneath. A shadow underneath. How delightful. Boom. Whoops. Not boom. Reverse the boom. Undo the boom. Okay, now we boom. We can clean that up a little bit. Make it nice and clean. Frog's mouth would be shadowed. A little tongue peeking through maybe. Get some eye shadows on there. Shadow hat. Maybe this frog's name is Shadow Hat. The frog thinks it's really cool to be called Shadow Hat, and frankly, I agree. So there's a few different ways that I go about shading. This is the way I do it when I have to go fast, which is I just pick big blocks of area and I just shade them in, kind of in vague reference to where I think the light source is coming from. But there's other ways that I think are fun to do it too. And one of the ways that I like to do it sometimes is, instead of doing it like that, I'll make a big layer over top where I put the multiply layer on top of everything. It needs to be a multiply layer. And then I like erase out the parts that I want to be in highlight. So this would be just kind of like a reverse approach, but it can be a good way to think about like where the light would actually be hitting. If I have more time, I'll do it that way. And sometimes it does kind of help you to think things through a little better about where the light would be. You can kind of rough it out to get a sense of what areas would be in light, what areas would be in shadow. Stuff like that is fun. Get rid of that. We're going back to doing it this way, easy way. This would cast a shadow over the face. And the head would cast a shadow down her. And probably a little bit here. And I think most of this would be in shadow. Give it a little bit of this action right here. Probably be a little bit of teeth, a little bit of tooth shadow. But less than that. Nose action. Cauldron is a big circle. So we'll get that in there like that. As far as knowing just like where the shadows would fall, that's just kind of takes a lot of practice and like looking at real life examples of where shadows fall on things. And I don't claim to be the best at it, but I definitely am passable. Sometimes that's all you really need to be good enough for whatever it is you're doing. Oh yeah, make the prosthetic shiny. I will do that for sure. That would be like this. And I'm kind of playing it a little fast and loose here for sure. Arm action. That would be casting a shadow here. Shadow in there from ambient occlusion. What y'all know about ambient occlusion? Ambient occlusion is a place that would be in shadow regardless of sort of the light source, like anywhere that's like a fold or an indentation or a cavity or something like that. So it's like no matter what the lighting situation, if you have a fold, the inside of that fold is going to receive less light. Yeah, light can't get in gaps. Thank you, Aim of Destiny. That's a good way to phrase it. Maybe like this a little bit is good enough. Good enough for me. It's all good enough for me. That would be shadow. That would be shadow. This would be shadow. Shadow the Hedgehog. That's going to be shadow. This is the part of the program where I just say what things are shadow. Oh, this needs to be shadow for sure. That's for sure in shadow. I would say probably part of this. I've done the thing where I've stopped talking again. I apologize. But it's good enough. That's gonna all be in shadow. Except for maybe like, might be like rim lit a little bit. Yeah. Probably more down here too, actually. Good enough for moving fast. This. This like that. Like that-ish. This like that-ish. Okay, let's add some shiny to the shiny bits. Why don't we do that? So for that, I would make a new layer. Probably go with like a soft light. Don't know exactly what the light source is, but we're gonna go with like a yellowish, like a sunny light. We can make a shine. It might actually need to be hard light. Yeah, hard light. Soft light too soft. Too soft, you kidding me? We need hard light here. Might do hard light and soft light if I'm feeling a little wild. Get some of that action right there. Shiny bits. I think I will actually do another layer too. Sometimes I like to get out the soft round. And then maybe you can add a little bit of three-dimensionality to the situation. Yeah, that's fun. Get some more of that. Get some light glow action. Yeah, check that out. That's good stuff. Don't need this anymore. I didn't shade that frog. I didn't shade that frog. Turn this to normal real quick so I can get the same color that I used. Gotta shade that frog. You kidding me? I need the other brush. Let's use this one. Our mournful friend. Yeah. Yeah. He is the light source. Book Frog has acquired mood. So yeah, that's a finished drawing up. I'd say so, right? I mean, other than the fact that I didn't do the keytar, but I still did a pretty good bit of things. Thanks everyone for watching. This was a fun time. I enjoyed just kind of drawing and doing stuff. There's a lot of other like little tricks and things I would usually do if I had infinite time. But this was a good bit for 2 hours 20 minutes. So I'll call it a success. Thanks everybody for hanging out. This was a fun time. I hope you enjoyed my little bonus stream. We'll be back again on Sunday for Secret Sleepover? Is that the next thing? Probably. Sounds right. Anyway, I'm leaving now. Have a great day. Have a great weekend. Have a great life. Goodbye, everybody.